we're back with more Expect the Unexpected by Arctic Vulpix. Last chapter we left off, Puppet, kind of caused Mangle to lose it by having some older kids pull her apart, take her apart, and then put her back together again, I believe. So Mangle's not in a good mood right now, so Ruby's now got to deal with that. Can she deal with it? Well, there's over 100 chapters in this fanfiction still, so keep going. So probably, but let's see how she does it. So, and of course, if you want to follow along with the chapter, link to it is in the description below as always. Chapter 41, Night 6, Take 2. Ruby sat in the office chair, staring calmly at the phone. However, she was reeling internally from the news she had received. It seemed that the sixth night was going to be tough again. She was pulled from her thoughts as the phone rang. Shaking her head, she lifted the tablet and started looking for the elusive Fox again. She hadn't been able to find her before. Hello? What on earth are you doing there? Did you get the memo? The place is closed down. At least for a while. Ruby looked up in confusion. What? Someone used one of the suits. She felt a chill go up her spine. We had a spare one in the back. A yellow one? Someone used it. Now none of them are acting right. A yellow one? She whispered. Listen, just finish your shift. It's safer than trying to leave in the middle of the night. We have one more event scheduled for tomorrow. Our birthday. You'll be on day shift. Wear your uniform, stay close to the animatronics, make sure they don't hurt anyone, okay? For now, just make it through the night. When the place eventually opens again, I'll probably take the night shift myself. Okay, good night, and good luck. Ruby stared at the phone for a long moment. Steve, you really shouldn't have taken the night shift, she murmured sadly. She sighed and stood up, but a sound caught her attention, and she just barely managed to dodge the swipe of the claw hand. Spinning around, she looked up and pale. Mangle was a mess. Missing parts, twisted limb, and an extra head. Ruby felt a chill of fear run down her spine at the look of pure hatred in the bot's eyes. She was hanging from the ceiling, which explained why Ruby hadn't been able to find her on the cameras. The bot let out a static noise and swung down, jaws aiming for her neck. Ruby dodged again and spun around to run. She darted for the other door, and Mangle scrambled after her, moving very quickly considering how damaged she was. As Ruby exited the office and before Mangle could reach the door, though, he hit the door button and jammed it. The fox shrieked in rage while Ruby eyed Heidi worriedly. She was friends with the toys after all. The mechanic was looking at the door with a heartbroken expression as Mangle shrieked, but she forced herself to face Ruby. You don't have much time. Mangle is the most dangerous out of all of them, so you have to move, she urged. And you're helping because... Ruby frowned. I don't want my friend to have murder on her hands. She's not usually like this. I'll explain afterwards, but it's not her fault. Please don't hurt her too much, Edie begged. She didn't really expect Ruby to listen, but the night guard's expression softened somewhat. The whole thing seemed a bit too convenient to me anyway. I'll do my best. I want that explanation afterwards, though. She turned to leave, but hesitated, glanced back at Heidi, who was looking at the door again. Thanks. You might want to get out of the way tonight, Heidi, she murmured before running off. Heidi looked back in surprise before a shriek of rage caught her attention, and she shivered. Mangle was terrifying when she was like this. The mechanic hesitantly wheeled into the room with the originals. She knew she would be in the way anywhere else, even though she wanted to help. The bots looked up at her immediately. They weren't watching a movie this time, instead listening to the sounds echoing through the building. Ruby told me to stay out of the way in this room, he said a little nervously, but Goldie interrupted her. It's that bad? She asked, wringing her hands. The group seemed to have suspended their hatred of the mechanic in favor of their worry over Ruby, although Bonnie still scooted behind Foxy when she came in. He looked down and nodded. I can't even get near her, she whispered. A sudden scream from Toy Bonnie caught their attention. The lass seems to be moving quickly tonight, Foxy murmured. Ruby panted a little as she grinned up at Toy Bonnie. The rabbit glared back. He was stuck hanging upside down from the ship in Pirate's Cove. That, she snickered, is literally the oldest trick in the book. She looked at the rope holding him up. Who walked into that trap? Honestly, Rabbit caught by a simple hunting trap. The rabbit snarled at her. Not like you're going to win. Mangle will get you easily enough, he snapped. Ruby's expression suddenly turned serious. Yeah, enjoy your friend's suffering since it benefits you. You're a wonderful friend, she growled scathingly at him. He actually flinched and looked away. Do you even care? Ruby demanded. I know you all feel pain, so I can only imagine how much pain she's in. I don't blame her for coming after me. I blame you all for letting this happen. You're so obsessed with getting me that you didn't even notice what happened. And then you just decided, hey, it'll benefit us, so let's not help her in any way and let her suffer. She glared at the rabbit who cowered away from her. You're a selfish bunch, she muttered, turning to leave. Try and not make this whole thing worse. Toy Bunny watched her leave, unable to get down. The night guard's words were a little difficult to swallow, since she was right. The puppet had told him to take advantage of the moment and just fix it later, though. But then again, Edie had looked so upset. His ear flicked towards the door as he heard another shriek. That was Mangle, and yep, that was a crashing wave of guilt. By 3 a.m., Ruby had stacked chairs on top of the puppet's box, locked Toy Freddy in the closet, and trapped Toy Chica in the kitchen. So it was just down to Ruby and Mangle. The fox was fine with this. The others had just been getting in the way anyway. She moved along the ceiling quietly, avoiding cameras and tracking the night guard. She was by far the most elusive prey Mangle had ever hunted. Those vents were rather annoying. She'd also unfortunately come across that infuriating balloon boy. Ruby's hiding place was interesting, but she decided to leave him there since he'd just get in the way. Her head swung to the side as she heard something. It sounded like Ruby was climbing out of a vent nearby. The fox's mouth twisted into a terrifying grin as she changed direction. It was time that the hunt got more serious. Ruby leaned against the wall, panting around 4:30 a.m. Mangle, she really was on a whole new level. She was fast, sneaky, and brutally ruthless. She moved her left arm and winced, biting back a hiss. She was pretty sure that arm was going to be badly bruised and sprained for the next couple of weeks. Mangle had missed another of her swings for the night guard's head, but had got her arm instead. Ruby quickly pushed the pain out of her mind as she started moving again. She couldn't stay stationary for long. She heard a crackle of static as she turned a corner and cursed as she dodged. The fox glowered at her menacingly from the ceiling. Ruby grinned back despite the flaring pain in her arm. Am I entertaining you? She asked, laughing at the fox's eyes narrowed. I hope that I'm keeping you properly distracted, since that's all you're using me for, isn't it? A distraction from what happened? She dived to the side as Mangle leapt forward and landed awkwardly on the ground. Or is it something else? What caused this whole attitude change? She asked, knowing she wouldn't get an answer. I didn't even do anything to you. You seemed fine with leaving me alone before. This just seemed to infuriate the fox further, and she snapped at Ruby, snagging her jacket. Geez, this is one of my favorite jackets, Ruby muttered absently as she wriggled out of it. She didn't want to use any of her hectic weapons because, honestly, Mangle looked like she'd fall apart at the slightest push. I'm starting to wonder if you don't blame me for this. Ruby spun to face the fox, who narrowed her eyes and gave a static-like growl. Did I hit the nail on the head? Because if that's the reason, don't you think that this is all too convenient? The 6th night, near the end with all options to beat me running out. And then a bunch of kids decides it's a great idea to do this, and suddenly you're in the game. Why would I do that when I'm winning? What would I get out of it? The fox snarled and snapped at her again. a faint hint of doubt entering her slightly crazed eyes. Come on, Mangled. The only reason I go after the toys is because they go after me. Why would I try and mess with you when I know you and Foxy are the most dangerous? Ruby tried again, but the fox seemed well past reason, and Ruby had to dive out of the way as Mangle sprang at her. Ruby growled before darting down the corridor again, Mangle pulling herself up to the ceiling and following quickly. 5:45 rolled around, and Mangle was getting desperate and angry while Ruby felt her exhaustion catching up with her. Mangle was on the same level as all the possessed bots together. She hit the floor hard as she dodged the irate robot and bashed her head on the ground. She felt blood trickle down her neck as she kept moving to avoid those snapping jaws. Ruby's luck finally ran out, though, and Mangle cornered her and pounced. The night guard dodged quickly enough that her neck was left uninjured, but the robot's sharp teeth cut into her shoulder, and she gasped at the fiery pain hit her. The animatronic's full weight also landed on her as she grit her teeth. The fox growled, jaws tightening, and Ruby bit back a scream. She really hadn't wanted to do this, but she had no choice in the end. I really hope you can handle this, Ruby panted as she jammed the taser pen between Mangle's joint and pressed the button. The shock made the fox lock up, and Ruby felt like screaming again as her teeth dug deeper. When the bot went still, though, she reached up and forced the jaws open, hissing and biting her tongue until it bled. She squirmed out from under the inner bot and pulled herself a short ways away before turning to look at the fox. She was clearly unconscious, and Ruby felt worried. She really didn't want the bot to be seriously injured. Something felt off about this whole night, so she didn't blame Mangled. Her first thought was to find Heidi, but moving did not sound like a good idea at that moment. She sat and took stock of her injuries. Her left shoulder was bleeding pretty badly, and it felt like it was on fire. She also had bruises forming everywhere from the bot landing on her. Her left arm was still aching, but that seemed dull in comparison to her shoulder. She drew in a shuddering breath and winced. How the heck am I explaining all this to Alice and Clint? She wondered, leaning her head against the wall. She winced. Oh, head injury too. The chime signaled 6, and Ruby sighed in relief. After a few minutes, Goldie popped up next to her and looked distressed immediately. Ruby! She sounded upset. She'd gone looking for her immediately after the chimes. Ruby managed to smirk. I win, she said tiredly. Am I telling Haley to come here and take a look at her? I had to shock her to get her off me. Goldie ignored her, though, and began fussing. You're hurt. You're bleeding. Ruby. Goldie looked ready to cry, and Ruby patted her shoulder, wincing at the movement pulled at her injured arm. Goldie, calm down. Just got to stop the bleeding, and I'll be fine. It looks worse than it is. Goldie spluttered in Hold on, I got this. Indignation. She bit you! Ruby rolled her eyes as the bot fussed and teleported to find a roll of bandages to wrap around her shoulders. Your head, too. Goldie trailed off, looking really upset. Ruby sighed. I'll be okay, Goldie. She smiled at the bear. This was something I had to do. Now, though, I want the explanation I was promised. She looked over at Mangled again as Goldie continued treating her injuries. She had a feeling she would still be bashing someone over the head tonight when she heard what the mechanic had to say. And that's the end of chapter 31. So it looks like she managed to beat Mangled. Only just, though. Only just. And I don't know how badly injured she got. I don't remember how badly injured she got from the originals. But I think she was still able to move then. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this chapter. Ruby survived. Is she gonna bash Puppet over the head? Probably, when she hears what he's done. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Go leave a review. I don't want comments. You can give a like. Leave a like, that's fine. But go leave a review. Tell the author what you think. They deserve this love, not me. I'm just reading it aloud. So go. Go. There's the chapter link, which you can do. You don't need an account. Just go. Go on. Shoo. and then come back and tell me what you think. If you don't do that, then I don't want to know anything. So, go, come back, and tell me. If not, then don't want to know. Anyway, be sure to subscribe. I upload new videos every Friday, and I will see you next Friday with a new video.